Okay, good Erev Shabbos. Shabbat is coming in a few minutes, and I wanted to say one quick idea from the Parsha. In the story of the Parsha, when the Jews are about to go out to war, so it says that the Kohen, he would bring them, and he'd gather them together, the Kohen was preparing them for war, and he would say, "Hear, O Israel! Listen to Israel," and he would tell them various things about the preparation for the war. The sages tell us, why is it Shema Yisrael, Hear, O Israel? The answer is that even if the Jews only have the merit of saying the Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, that's the only merit they have, that's enough for them to be successful. Now that's, and win the war. Now, that's really strange. What does it mean? It's the only merit they have, like it's not a big thing? Apparently it is a big thing. To sanctify and say there's one God is very big. So it says, even if only they have that, well, I guess because, it's a fairly easy thing to do. Many Jews do this. They sanctify God, say there's one God in the morning, one God in the evening. They recognize that. Well, why is that the crucial turning point that will make them win the war? Okay, and somehow this quality, I believe, has to do with the idea of going to war specifically and being a challenge. Now, a war doesn't only mean wars in the world. There's a war in your life. There's a war in the world that you live in, things pulling you in the opposite directions. What does the quality of saying Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one? What does that do? What does that transform us? Let's try to understand a second. So, we are coming towards Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the new year. And that day is marked by recognizing that God is the Melech, the king. Now, that whole feeling of kings makes no sense to us. We can't relate to it. We don't know what it is. The prince and the princess and Harry and Andrew, whoever their names are, they're getting married, they're doing their thing. That's not what we're talking about. The idea of a melech, a king, is something very special. The idea is, as Maimonides says, the melech is the lev ha'am. The king is the heart of the people. The heart's in the center, and it pumps out, and it becomes the ruler of the whole body. It becomes a center point that unites everything. Okay, that's why the Hebrew letters for king, melech, are exactly the middle letters of the Hebrew alphabet, because it's the center point. It unites everything. Okay? In other words, let's say, you have one guy who, he wants to, shoot a gun, and one guy wants to go and shoot an arrow, and one guy wants to, whatever their roles they have. If they don't have a unifying force that holds them together, that's not a way to fight a battle. Same thing in anything. You have a basketball team, a great shooter, 2 great shooters, 5 great shooters, but if they can't unify and have a unifying force that brings them together as one, then they're going to lose. Shema Yisrael, he's saying to them that the quality of you recognizing the oneness of God, that every aspect of our lives and the roles that we play fit in to one system, is an expression of the oneness of God. And the mystics tell us an amazing thing. The Ramchal tells us, the big Kabbalist, the Ramchal says that of all the things you can understand about God, the one thing you can understand is that He's one. Everything else you really can't get. God is kind. How kind? Very, 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 very kind. I'll keep saying it forever. I won't get there. The idea of God being one, I can understand because it comes from the negation of other things. Okay? In other words, when I think there are many, I say, well, no, there's no other source, there's no other power. That is the negation that I see of other things controlling the world or directing the world, makes me realize there is one. Okay? That is what the whole thing turns on. The concept of unity, of oneness, understanding God's oneness in the world. Now, this explains another very, very deep thing. We are now in a time of, it's called Zayin Achamta, 7 parts of the Haftorah, the end of the Torah, the prophet portions, that we read that comfort us from the destruction of the temple until the completion, until we get to the high holidays. So, this process of mourning for the temple was a destruction, and now we're in the process of comforting. Why was the temple destroyed? The second temple, which is destroyed to this day, thousands of years, as opposed to the first temple, was a short period of time. This was destroyed because of machloket, contention, fighting amongst people. Now, why is that so serious? The worst sin in the world is people fighting? Yes, it is! Let me try to explain why that's true. Imagine you have a parent, and it's not hard to imagine, this happens all the time. A parent and he has children, and the children don't get along, they're fighting. It causes tremendous anguish to the parent, because the parent wants to see the child as an expression of themselves and different parts of themselves. And when they unite, when they are friends, when they see the greatness of each other, then it's a statement to about the parent. When there's contention amongst the children, that is actually denying the source of where they're coming from, because they're not connected. If they come from one source, then they should be able to be united because they come from one root. And if they're not, then that's a break in the actual source. That causes a parent tremendous anguish. And that's really, I think, the explanation of the fantastic teaching in the Talmud, which says that a convert came to Shammai and he said, "Teach me the whole Torah on one leg," which is absurd. How can you do that? It doesn't make any sense. And Shammai says he chased him out with an amas binyan, with a measuring stick to build buildings with. And then he came in front of Hillel, and Hillel said, "Okay, here's the Torah on one leg. What is hated to you, don't do to your friend." The whole story is crazy. What does he mean he's going to Torah on one leg? What is this Shammai walking around with a measuring stick to build buildings with? He hits him with the measuring stick to build buildings, and then Hillel says, "Oh, don't do it us. We don't like to do them to them. The golden rule. That's it. That's not it. It's just this infinite amount more. What does this mean?" The answer is that the convert was looking for one principle to stand on, to build something from one point. And Shammai said, like you build a building, there are all parts. It's not one thing. You need to have foundations. You need to have pillars. You need to have various things to make the building stand. Hillel was able to whittle it down to one central point, the oneness of Hashem, the oneness of God, the oneness of purpose in our lives. And the way you start with that is when you understand that your fellow man is the other part of you. He is the right hand to your left hand. Then you actually testify to the greater unity of the world, that there is one source that puts us all together. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. The oneness of God, the oneness of the purpose of creation, the oneness of our unity as human beings together. And when that happens, we are successful in all battles that try to surround and encompass us. Have a great Shabbat.